in Podcast Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that growler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
And we are live, episode 196, Better on Draft podcast. My name is Ken. Very few people in studio today, only me and Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Ken, I've got one hand full of natural light hard seltzer.
What's
and
the other handful of?
Sunshine?
Liquid death.
I keep seeing this on social media, and people just lamenting how terrible it sounds as far as like mean and satanic. So of course I just reached for it. But yeah, it's $2 for a water, which I guess expensive, but the marketing got me there.
I mean, is the alkaline pH plus in there too, or whatever that people try to sell you?
It's got what plants crave.
It's got what plants crave.
And then I have a drafting table, howler, would you call this?
Yeah.
But it's not drafting table. So
Is it a surprise or is it a...
No, we're going to drink it. Maybe Rob comes today and we can enjoy this because this is a coffee beer.
Is it? Oh, so it's not Malo. Because that would be like $500 in liquid money.
Yeah. So it's actually Night Shift from Jamex. It's their coffee cream ale. So I'm sure we're going to crack this anyways. But it's an experience I had on Wednesday, and it was really good. So I said, hey, let's bring it to the show. I think it's as good, if not better, than Rob's white coffee stout from Eastern Market. So let's see if we can put them to the test.
Well, I had quite the week for myself. I was in Sacramento all week. Flew in this morning.
Damn, are your arms tired?
Yeah, damn, they're tired. I don't know if you saw my little post about the escalator at the airport. The escalator didn't have stairs anymore, so sadly Mitch Hedberg is now wrong because that is definitely an inconvenience now.
Sorry for the convenience.
Yeah, you see, I think a lot of people get
Rest
it, but
in peace, Mitch.
yeah. I did see him live a month before he passed away. He came in with Stephen Lynch.
Yeah, in Royal Oak here, right?
I might have went cross state to Grand Rapids to see him, or Kalamazoo, because that's where you might want to get the mic closer to you. That's where Stephen Lynch is from, is Kalamazoo. So usually that was a lot easier tickets to get because there was more people that can go to that show. I did get a chance. I met up with the Barley and Me guy. And we chatted for about an hour. I was exhausted, though, so I only had
So you died at the end?
I did die at the end. I wound up having a 5% ginger kombucha that destroyed my palate to the point where I couldn't drink anymore.
Is it like overly gingered, like sushi?
Yeah, I would think so. I'm not a big sushi.
You don't like the sushis?
I do not like the sushis. So, yeah, I could not get into it. Well, I did. I liked it, but again, like that little taster, like a 5-ounce taster, just killed me. So I then went to Urban Roots, and we actually are going to have episode 196.5 is going to be the episode I did with Peter and Rob, the owners of Urban Roots. Rob was a former, I believe, European basketball player.
Okay.
Played in like a European league, so one of the minor leagues to the NBA, so not the D League, but you know, where they watch the people, yeah. So he was a bar manager and had like one of the very first craft bars in Sacramento. And then Peter had been brewing for like over 20 years. He was brewing since he was 19 years old. And this brewery's only been open for a year and they're doing gangbusters over there. So you're going to check that out. Episode 196.5. That's going to come out actually Wednesday of this coming week, which I don't know what date that is. I think it's the 15th to the 16th.
Yeah.
So definitely a good show. Definitely check that out. I dropped them some knowledge about distribution laws in Michigan, and they couldn't believe it at all. So definitely asked them how they would play this game, and they came up with some ideas. So you're going to have to take a listen to that episode.
Not on Friday?
Not on Friday. It's going to be out on Wednesday of next week. So the half episode. We actually are going to have another half episode coming out in a week or two, which is going to be for the Jimmy John's Beer Festival, which we are hosting tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
At Jimmy John's Field over in Utica, Michigan. So we're going to have people coming into our little makeshift studio in one of the suites. And
you pulled all that off?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So we're going to have a little six mic studio. So people will just be popping in and out as we're working for that. Definitely come check us out. Say hi to us at the festival. But Matt, we have some guests in studio right now.
Oh, man. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they're here.
Is Mark Vessel in there?
Well, no, I was referring to the guests in studio.
Oh, I thought you
not
meant
guests
like on
in-
the chat.
Not guests in chat, guests in
Oh,
studio.
well, you looked down
This
when you
is
said we have guests.
Yeah, so I can start sharing stuff.
We do have guests. I'm going to let
Why we
Ryan
can't have
start.
nice things.
So I'm going to have Ryan introduce himself. And, we'll go from there.
I'm Ryan Balicki. I am the general manager for Copper Hop Brewing Company, opening up in St Clair Shores, hopefully in the near future. Next end of November, December timeframe is what we're shooting for. And this is my partner, Jeremy.
I'm Jeremy Lewis, the head brewer at Copper Hop Brewing Company.
Now, we've got to stop real quick. Ryan, won on my beer box last week.
I did.
And I blame Ken now because it's going to seem rigged that he picked you.
Well, he said my name wrong, so it doesn't count, right? I think it was Blackie is what he said.
I don't know. I just did it phonetically. I didn't bother trying.
No, it's just funny because.
But we did not put that together. So
No,
just so everyone's clear, there was no cold envelope here. So
It's the second NBA reference today.
yeah, you got to rise above. So let's talk about Copper Hop. Where are we located?
We are at the corner of 9 and Mac, the old Vitamin Village. It's in the same strip as the Shores Theater, but on the other end, basically, right across from Shores End.
Now, St. Clair Shores already has 2 breweries. Why?
3 by the time we open, probably.
Okay, so why St. Clair Shores? I mean, it's not. It can't get much bigger, can it? And they're all pretty close. You're all within 2 miles of each other.
Yeah. When you look at the density, the population of St. Clair Shores, there's a lot of small lots, a lot of houses, just a lot of people in that area. The route you would take to get there with 696 and 94 being so close, it's just a very good area to.
But they're never
be
open.
in. Yeah, well, yeah,
The freeways are
right.
never open.
Yeah. So, but honestly, we originally were going to be in New Baltimore. We found this location. We wanted to be in what was like a downtown type area of a community. So when we found this location, it was kind of, we fell in love with it, and things in New Baltimore just weren't going on the schedule that we hoped they would. So we actually had become good friends, or JamX had helped us out big time. Baffin had helped us out big time, and we had conversations with both of them. Do you think the city, could support another brewery? At this time, we didn't know Dragon's Landing was going to come in, which probably wouldn't have mattered anyways. And Shipwreck had just gone out, basically, had wrecked. And
Run aground.
yes, and so they were like, yeah, Joe from Baffin, he said, we've never been busier than when JamX opened, and we got even busier when Shipwreck opened.
Well, you have to leave Shipwreck to get beer.
Exactly. But no, you just there's enough people in that area. In my opinion, our goal with coming there was to help make St. Clair Shores a brewery destination on the east side, because there really isn't one. I live in Macomb. The closest brewery to me is Sherwood, and that's still 10 minutes away. There's not a lot going on the east side. If you want to go somewhere fun, you typically, you go downtown, or you go to Royal Oak, or you go to Ferndale. You don't go to St. Clair Shores, and we're trying to change that. We're trying to put St. Clair Shores on that short list of where to go to have a good time on a Friday or a Saturday. Hit a couple places, go to Travis to end the night, those types of things.
Off season though, because we're packed in May, June, July anyways. Yeah. We don't need more people.
Right. But yeah, that was really our thought process behind it, was just, there's already a good presence here with Baffin doing as great as they've done. JamX came on really strong, making some really good beers as well, and has its following. And we kind of positioned ourselves in that downtown area, hoping to draw some from Grosse Pointe. I think there's a lot of people that could be pulled in from that area into that downtown space that might not go down there currently.
So what was the kind of the copper hop genesis moment? Were you brewing beer and Ryan tried to convince you to say, hey, we should do this, we should quit our jobs and do this professionally, or?
Well, so it started, we've always had a couple parties, big parties, not so much recently, but we used to have slip and slide parties and things like that where you have flip cup at the end.
Oh,
and
okay.
I always,
cup.
Slippy cup. So you
invite me next time. Please.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a 100-foot slip and slide.
100 foot.
Oh yeah, it was
to
extreme.
a table where you play flippy cup. It was awesome.
And I always brewed the beer. For
Okay.
that. So it varied, usually a cream ale, a blonde. I think one year there was some stout out there, which is not good for flip cup.
Chug us down.
That's just because everyone's weak.
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
it builds character.
Yeah.
So doing that, I started doing this with my brother-in-law, 10 years ago, and we had always talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. And then Ryan heard us talking about it, and he's like, this is something we really should do. Just don't talk about it, let's do it. And he's kind of a shark with those things. So he just gets in there and he finds something he wants and he goes after it. And so I've always wanted to do it. I think it's a great idea. And we found a great location. I didn't think that we'd ever end up in St Clair Shores since I live 3 minutes from the brewery. That really turned out to be very convenient.
right?
He's literally like
Yeah.
3 streets down.
Yeah, I'm only trying to help raise my property value. That's the secret behind this.
Dude, those property values have gone up, almost doubled
Yeah.
in the last 4 or 5 years. It's crazy what that city's done in that district, which is, I mean, it doesn't have that good of schools.
They're getting better, but yeah, it's not. You don't. When you say schools, you don't think of like
That area.
those schools being top notch or anything.
Minutes
No,
from the
and I
brewery.
mean, for the amount of money that they're bringing in tax, maybe that'll change. But
Yeah.
Well, and the great thing about the area is it's just becoming so walkable. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, I mean, it's not like Royal Oak. I don't want to say that, but I go out west occasionally to see my brother-in-law, and we go to Tacoma, and it's awesome. You walk everywhere, and then you come back here, and you got to get in your car and drive everywhere. So now that we're doing that, the main street with Butter Run going in the theater and us going in the old Vitamin Village, and you already have 2 great bars on the street, you're just making a real walkable area for the neighborhoods that are attached to that.
I was trying to convince the mayor we shut that down. So St. Clair Shores had Rock the Shores.
Rocking the Shores. Yeah.
So one of the 4 dealerships sponsors a concert. We had Sponge, if anybody outside of Metro Detroit's heard of Sponge, and the dude from Verve Pipe. So it's literally, he sings all the Verve Pipe hits. It's kind of weird, but hey,
I mean, it's kind of like Colin Hay doing a tour, and it's just basically all Men at Work songs, but it's just Colin Hay.
Okay, or the guy from Devo doing karaoke, I imagine. But anyways,
Similar.
I really think that area should just be closed down permanently, or at least on weekends. It'd be a great thing to open up and have a full, bar scene right there. And I mean, do we really need a tailor and a chiropractor, right next to a brewery?
Right.
Let's bring more into entertainment. But
Yeah.
side tangent. So, do you have a flagship beer that you would brew every year that you're going to be bringing on, or is this going to just be?
We have a couple beers that we think are going to be very successful, but again, it all depends on what everybody likes drinking. So we're gonna brew. We're gonna start off with what we feel are our best. Maybe hold one back till the spring, and then see where we go. Watch the sales. Watch what the people likes. We really want to be involved with the community. Take their input. Help us create a beer menu that you really like.
Do you have anything in barrels already?
No.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm actually really looking forward to. As a home brewer, you're like, oh god, it would be sweet to barrel age something, but barrels are so dang expensive. You're like, I'm not doing.
Now
that.
you can expense it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, you brought beer, right?
Yes,
We did bring beer.
So what you want to hear? Well, actually, we have 2 fresh ones.
There we go.
I got a fresh one over here too for me.
3 fresh.
Mine will
So
be empty in a minute.
We do have a couple people in chat. We have Rob Rosenbach is saying that they can't wait to have you in St. Clair Shores. He asked, will you offer growlers?
We will. We also have a crowler machine.
Okay.
That we'll be able to fill up crowlers as well.
Sean Anthony in the chat says Stout is a year-round drink, and then says we will offer crowlers and growlers. So I assume Sean is part of
our
your.
other partner that was not able to be
Unfortunately,
here
I
tonight.
wasn't able to make it.
He just had a
Apparently,
baby.
I was
Not
gonna
him,
say-
that would be a- that would
Yeah, I was gonna say apparently he's really busy if he's watching, but I guess have a baby is
Yeah.
definitely one of
Probably
those
got a
that
sleeping baby on his chest or something.
can't move, can't scream, don't wake up the baby. We did have somebody earlier when we did post, because I did post a preview of what our final shot was tonight, which is going to be this Tahoe Blue Vodka from California. But what was the hardest thing for you guys when you were opening up your brewery? Like the most complicated, not necessarily the hardest thing like lifting up or brewing the beer itself, but just like maybe what was just the hardest thing that happened?
I think so far to date, the hardest thing is just adjusting your expectations to how the speed things are going to run, how quickly you think you'll get done, or your budget, things like that. I'm sure we still have a lot of challenges to go before the end of November. When we're able to open.
Is this the 15%?
No.
Okay.
No, this is this is a Simcoe IPA.
No, this
Yes.
Yeah, this is a Simcoe.
Yeah.
The Simcoe IPA.
Is this what I call the APA?
Yes.
So what's in it? What's the malt build?
The malt build, it's a little bit of crystal, a lot of 2-row. It's pretty simple. It's more of a hop-forward beer. Unfortunately, we're still using corny kegs because we're home brewing. We're not actually a brewery yet.
Where's the hop forward part?
See, I told you.
It's definitely the corny keg. That's from burping it to get the oxygen out. You also let all the hop aroma out. So.
Well, I mean, I tasted it, and I still,
Yeah.
I'm not getting.
No, it's definitely.
It's not on the nose. It's not on the tongue.
It definitely has a lot of nose when you get it
Fresh.
not in a corny keg.
Yeah.
Yeah. About a weekend after, it was really good, and then it went down to.
Yeah.
It's still delicious, but it's not.
Oh yeah, this'll drink all day.
Yeah. No, and that's, I think, when we were at Rocking the Shores, you may or may not have had some beer there, and
No.
you
All the beer I got there, I purchased legally with tokens.
Right. Yes.
This actually, not to interrupt, but
No,
this
interrupt.
is our.
We're
this,
an audio
this is
medium.
our. We only had one keg of this left, and it was Sean's keg that's been sitting for a while, and it seems to have lost
A lot of it.
all of the aroma, completely.
The thing is, I don't mind a older IPA because it not all the way to barley wine old, but like somewhere in the middle where it just changes what it wants to be, and it's like I don't know, maybe that's why I got the APA flavors because I think it's got the malt character that balances out the hops really well as opposed to just being bam Simcoe.
In the face with the hops, yeah. No, and I think there's a fine line between an American IPA and American Pale Ale. I mean, it's, but definitely, part of the hindrance that you have as a home brewer is everything you're doing it on when it comes to the way you even carb your beer and stuff like that. So, it's really the flavor profile is there. A lot of the hops kind of fell off.
Not a lot, pretty much.
So you actually just got your equipment.
Yes.
We did.
So do you want to tell everybody about what that was all about?
Yeah, so we were originally going to purchase equipment. Actually, we were going to get an equipment loan, do all that stuff, and then talking to Evan, he actually said
Evan from Baffin.
Evan from Baffin, yes. He was like, "Well, we're actually getting new equipment," and I was like, "Really?" So, we ended up purchasing their equipment, and they just. I can't thank those guys enough. They've been great, even just from information, the help they've given us, and the equipment. Just allowing us to purchase that from them saved us a ton of money. So used equipment is the way to go.
Absolutely.
So unless you're doing well and you want to buy brand new equipment like they did, which is great.
We got to start somewhere. They weren't overnight success. I mean,
No.
but they were also the first ones to that area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and, the closest brewery is either Atwater, 7 miles
is
away.
not-
Which was not even
Seems
there
like
when
it
they
should
opened.
be close, but if you try driving there, it still takes a half an hour.
Or Coonan at 16 and Groesbeck. So there's really or really Dragon Mead there at
Yeah.
Yep.
Service
Shaner,
696 in Groesbeck.
which you pass by all the time because you don't know there's a brewery there.
Right.
You really need a McDonald's sign out front. Right. Says Dragon Mead on it.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, do you have a name for any of your beers yet?
Yeah, we've got a couple names
In
but-
process.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's a lot that we haven't really sat down and gone like, oh, what is this going to be?
Do you have any untapped reviews yet?
No, I don't even think we've tried to go that route yet. So
I don't see you guys on Untappd right now. So
yeah. we have a business account with Untappd, but I don't think we've done anything on it.
So you said December's the projected launch date?
Yeah,
Hopefully the latest.
Yeah, we're hoping end of November, early December.
Hopefully before Thanksgiving, the
What-
weekend before Thanksgiving.
Are you guys what stage are you in with the state?
We're done. all of our licensing with the city, state, feds is all complete. Literally, we get our C of O and we can open.
We just need a final
if
inspection.
We have beer,
So really, it's just the liquid's holding you back at this point.
well, no,
Liquid
it's
and a
the-
little bit of
the
construction.
build out. Yeah, the construction. We've got to get to that point where we have all of our mechanicals done so that we can hook up the brew equipment so that we can start brewing, which we're hoping to have happen in the next 2 weeks. So.
Well, I mean, what kind of turnaround are you guys going to be putting on this liquid? Because I mean, it's already mid-October, right? It's
Yeah.
the 11th today.
Yeah.
So if you open on the 20th of November,
Yeah, we wouldn't be opening that early. I mean, it would be the end of November, like literally, like the last couple days.
We can probably turn around. Yeah. Well, I don't want to speak because I don't have much experience with this. I have experience on what we can do on a 1-barrel system, and I know.
so
we
you're
can
just going to
turn
rock out some 1-barrels then?
No. But on our 1-barrels, we can turn product in about 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
I think just rock out some 1-barrels and you
Yeah.
get the inventory up, and then scale it to your 3. What is it? You got a 5-barrel, right?
5-barrel, yeah. Talking to Evan and those guys, I mean, you're talking about 4 weeks from getting it out of the brew kettle to getting a keg. So I mean, that's why we're saying we should be brewing beer in 2 weeks, and we're basically going to be brewing back to back to back to back. So at the end of that time, we should have 8 beers in the fermenter. So 4 weeks from then is when we're hoping we can open. So
Ken, what do you think about this beer?
I like it.
I figured you would. It's not very
Hoppy,
Yeah.
bitter.
hoppy, but
It's
you
not
get a little bit
bitter
of
or
flip.
hoppy.
Well,
Yeah.
see, okay. Well, it won't. It's not super bitter because I'm more of a light beer guy. So,
Oh,
we
that's
will.
sacrilege for a brewer.
Yeah. We do have bitter IPAs because he loves them.
Yeah.
So we brew them.
Well, not everyone's perfect.
But
that's true.
when I brew a beer, I like to do something light, crisp, something I can drink like 7 of at dinner, and not take away room for dinner.
there is a very hoppy beer that we brew that we do have a name for. It's called Hop Circles. And what was the IBUs on that?
It was over 100.
Yeah.
It was like 112.
Yeah, and the whole reason behind the name of that is I went out of town. The brew equipment's at my house. It's a 1-barrel system. Sits on my back. It was like a Florida room or whatever. So, which worked out perfectly. It's like tiled 7 feet up the wall. It's got a cedar ceiling. Like, could not have asked for a better area to brew beer.
It's almost like the universe figured
It
something
already
out
had
for you.
220 in it because it was a hot tub room for the
Oh,
previous
there you
owner.
go.
So,
Oh God, the things that room has seen.
So I went up north with the wife and the kids, and they brewed beer while I was gone. And I came back, and they had dumped all the chemicals in my lawn when they were cleaning out the fermenter. Allegedly. So there were literally circles, like crop circles, in my yard from like the fermenter sitting upside.
You have a dog.
Allegedly
You have a
from the-
dog, don't you?
Yes.
It was just dropping
Yeah,
deuces,
I don't think that was from us, but
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
he took
so
pictures. He
dropping
was-
dirty in the lawn.
It
Yeah, he was
actually
not
it was
super
funny. The
happy about
picture
it.
of it actually looked like Donald Trump's face in the lawn. It was like the whole crazy hair and everything going on. So
Now, while Sean is doing a lot in the chat answering people's questions, obviously we are an audio medium. People listen to us on podcasts, so I am going to ask some of the questions that he's answering, but to you guys. So Nick Ulbrich is asking if you guys are planning on doing any Belgian styles.
We do have a
So-
Belgian double that we, I think is pretty good. It'll be, I don't want to say stuff's going to be on tap when we open because things could go horribly wrong while we're brewing since we're new,
give yourself a little.
But it'll be on tap when we
I
open.
don't think he has faith in himself.
No, that's
Oh, I have a ton of faith in myself. It's just,
new equipment.
things happen. So.
Have you scaled ever before? Or is this
Yeah,
you-
we've scaled. I started off in the igloo cooler at 5 gallons, like
Okay.
everybody starts. And right now we're brewing up at 32 to 40 gallons for our fermenter. So I've done that, and that scales pretty easy. And talking with Evan, he said if, you'll get it after the first batch. It's just, you get close, and then to taste. You just
Yeah.
kind of figure it out. So,
Even if you scale a little bit wrong, it'll still produce good beer. Like if you have a good recipe, you're gonna get good beer. It might not be what you were shooting for, but then you can figure out, the grain bill needs to be adjusted, or we're put too much hops in. It's a little more bitter than we want. So
Well, that you're talking about scaling, and North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, just south of Baseline Road, right on North Center Road. We actually brewed an alt beer in one of their little pony kegs because I knew, as much as I love alt beers, I knew it wasn't going to sell very well. So I'm like, let's just do a little a test batch, a fun batch, something to put on tap. And people actually, went for it. They liked it, decent malt build. I got a little bit more. It was more like a red than an alt near the end. With that, though, they started brewing it again and again because people actually wanted to drink it. But they had to go from this little tiny, igloo 5-gallon to actually scaling it into their own system. And we had a few hiccups during the brew process where like the wort got stuck and having to do all the things you have to do as a home brewer just to save the batch. Because as a brewer, sure, you're seeing profits go down the line, but as a home brewer, it's a lot different because you're like, oh, I got to start over again, and I don't have that beer anymore.
Yeah. And cleaning sucks. Cause,
cleaning sucks, and you don't have a product after that. So you kind of just
work for nothing.
Did you homebrew at all, or
when I started homebrewing with Jeremy, probably about 2-3 years ago,
which kind of leads to like how we got our name.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so actually,
Copper hop is actually a hop that's native to Michigan, the Michigan copper hop. So the first beer Jeremy and I brewed together, we used Michigan copper hops in the beer, which was an IPA. So that's actually how we got our name, Copper Hop Brewing Company. Sorry, I'm playing footsie with you, man.
No, it's literally like the worst thing here.
Now, with one thing being in St. Clair Shores, when you talk about Belgian style beers, you always think Dragon Mead. They're Double Dragon, Final Absolution, and Sin Eater. Is that the quad?
That's the quad, yeah. That's
great. Why am I
And they have a
thinking
5
Armageddon?
Too. They have a 5 one too.
I don't remember which Armageddon. Which
they
one?
Have a Quint.
So they do Belgian style so well, so good. But when I think beer and I think being on the water and stuff, I want low ABV stuff. Are you guys going to be making maybe a light lager, or, a low ABV lager, or English mild?
Berliner Weiss.
well, we do have a
Berliner Weiss.
we have a
Berliner
I think
Weiss.
Matt wants a Berliner Weiss, but I don't.
we don't have a Berliner Weiss, but we do have a couple great light beers. We have a Pilsner, that's excellent. We have a blonde, which I love. I absolutely love our blonde. I know it sounds silly to say because it's a blonde.
It's a good, easy drinking
but,
light beer.
It's fantastic. We have a cream ale that's really good, but there's no low ABVs. Everything's 5.5% to 6.5%.
the blonde is lower. The blonde's like just under 5.
It could be if people wanted it to be under 5, but typically it's around 6.
Yeah, we want to give more alcohol.
But for as much craft beer there is in St. Clair Shores, it's still a relatively blue collar community. There's still a lot of people that just want to have a beer. You go across the street and there's a bar that just serves, light lagers for the most part.
Right.
They might have a Magic Hat or a Summer Shandy, but at the same time they're pulling Bud Lights the whole time.
Right.
I think we have beers that will convert people from the Bud Light, the light lagers over to craft beer, because it's not that they're not watered down and they're not I'm trying to describe Bud Light in a way that's not just terrible pea water.
You were kind of talking about how you want to have 7 of a beer. Do you really want to have 7 of a 5%? And
It's 35%.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
a lot of percentage. I do. I think 5. In this day and age, it's pretty funny that 5% is low. You know what I mean? It's like it's considered a low
when you
ABV.
have breweries like Hop and Frog where their turbo shandies are the lowest ABV at like 6.5%.
Right.
I think we're trending towards a little bit more of people wanting those low ABV beers because we're starting to see a lot of NA beers coming out of breweries too.
We were just talking about that the other day about an NA beer because there's a lot of people I know that don't drink, or whether it's a choice or they're or they just don't want to. But an NA beer, I think that's kind of the next trend that hits. I mean, you can't have a brewery full of NA beers. That would probably wouldn't work. But
no, I mean you could probably pull it off.
I
was gonna say
I'm
you could
sure there's
probably
a market
pull it
somewhere.
off somewhere in like a big market like a Chicago
Right.
or a San Francisco. But in a St. Clair Shores where you're competing against other beer cities in the Tri-County area. You're competing against Royal Oak, Ferndale for people because you want them to come to Jamex, to Baffin, and to see you as well.
Right.
So, yeah, you're not going to do that for NA
we'll definitely
beer
have
tour.
We'll definitely have a beer that probably right around 5 or just under. We've been there before where we're sitting in a brewery and we're like, you've already had one, right? And you're like, oh, I want another one, but I don't want a 6.5% or a 7%, or I want, I got to drive or whatever it may be. I want something that, to sit here and drink and not, be falling off the chair after 2 or 3 or 4 of them.
If you listen to the next episode, which is 196.5 with Urban Roots, we talk about it, and that's why they actually started brewing a Czech Pils, which registered at 3.8, I believe. And this thing was so good, so delicious. But the problem is, especially with those low ABV beers, it was crushable.
Yeah.
To where you're
people
drinking
end up
it and it's
so
delicious, and it's almost like you're drinking. That's the problem that I have with these like seltzers.
Right.
Like I'm drinking it as if it's water. And, sure enough, now I'm down like 5 or 6 seltzers at 4.5 to 5%. And I'm like feeling it really quick.
Yeah.
So are you guys going to be making any? Hi, Matt.
I didn't know. Okay, go ahead.
The damn California governor again.
It's the Samsung phone.
I hate the goddamn Sam. If you're thinking about getting a Note S10, do not.
The S10's different than the Note. That's
or
two different.
if you're thinking about getting the Samsung to S10, don't.
I have I had the Note 9 and now I have the OnePlus 7.
You know what? I'm going back to Apple.
Isn't that 8?
OnePlus. No, it's a OnePlus. Yeah.
It's an equation.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
give
You
you
don't
a
want
math
the
problem
answer.
as a
You
phone.
just want the equation in there.
Do you guys have any other licenses? Or are you guys going for like a winemaker's license?
We have our
yeah.
winemaker's license. We
Okay.
will be doing cider as well, which we brought a cider with us. Sean wanted me to let you know that he's our cider maker, that it's a 15% cider. We will not be serving 15% ciders in the brewery.
Well, he mentions in the chat, ABV has been a huge challenge. I've always brewed bigger beers, so it seems
Yeah.
like a personal problem.
Yeah. So, but he brewed this one for his wife. His wife was pregnant, and I think he wanted after.
So
No, she already gave birth.
Gave birth. I was gonna
Then-
say birth.
That's why he's
I
home.
said was pregnant. Was past tense.
You didn't
Was
finish the
pregnant.
story.
Yeah, I know. Your
That came
face. I
out
saw
wrong.
your face. So I had to clarify before the police ended.
Let's
up at
give
his
this
house.
pregnant lady a 15% ABV.
But she wanted something for when after she gave birth to drink, and I think he just wanted her to be able to just pass out. So he figured he'd brew a 15%er.
I think he just likes to see if he can do things.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Evil
But it's
Knievel over there.
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually a blueberry cider, blueberry apple cider, and it's pretty
Homebrewed.
good. Yeah, it's good for 15%. I mean, it is a little sharp, but it's good.
All right.
Well, I decided to look up real quick because Google's hysterical. High ABV ciders. And looking at this right now, you're higher than every single one on here. Including the Amshire iced cider from Blake's Hard Cider.
Iced, huh?
Yeah.
That's how you know it's high ABV.
Yeah, Ice House.
I mean, that's just what it says. It just says Amshire. It doesn't say anything else except for the ABV. The highest ABV in this list is 12.5.
I thought I could have swore that.
I mean, this is November 2017, so it's only 2 years old, but
I could have swore during my time in sales that Vandermill said you can't brew a cider over 6.9% or else it's legally considered a wine.
Yeah.
well, I mean, legally, that's just legalese, I guess you could say, because I'm looking at it right now, and I now see Reverend Nat's releases highest ABV cider ever, which is 16.6%, called Wooden Hellfire.
We're so close.
There you go, Sean. Challenge.
That's nothing.
Challenge it up.
I think he had to try to get this one at only 15%, so I'm sure he
Was
could
he
do
just
it.
like pouring grain alcohol
Yeah,
into it?
Well, this
Basically,
is
it's Everclear is all it is.
16.6%, but he's in Canada, so maybe that's a Canadian 16.6%.
Oh, yeah, that's only
metric.
like
Yeah, so how many Maple Leafs to a bald eagle is that?
I don't know, but again, it says iced cider style. So I guess this is a form of style. So if Sean was here, he could probably answer the questions about iced
You
ciders.
just got to read the chat.
Yeah,
but
it
he's
sounds
not-
like he's going ham in there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've
so.
made a
If he's
cider.
quiet,
He
he-
said he's made a cider with champagne yeast up to 18%. I feel like at that point, when you're using champagne yeast,
Just
you're
call it
kinda-
champagne.
You just call it a champagne. I think you're just lying to yourself there,
We'll
Sean.
call that one the champagne of ciders.
There we go.
So
Off of the-
The higher one.
nearly all of our glasses are empty. Let's crack one more open before we take a break.
Not the cider. The ciders
Not-
to go last.
The ciders to go last before we drink the final shot over here, which I'm really excited to
This
try.
one's got a hop smell to it. We did- oh, Jesus.
I got a chance. So I went to Urban Roots, but I also went to this bar in San Francisco because Sacramento doesn't have too many flights in and out straight. So I went to this place called Libertine, and my friend laughed at me for choosing that bar because she's just like, yeah, it's going to be a total complete hipster bar. Get in there, amazing selection of liquor. I wound up trying an aquavit that they had over there. And I tell you what, we need more aquavits in the state of Michigan. What's wrong with aquavit? You don't like liquor in the first place.
You know what? I think I'm biased on the aquavit because you started me off with the worst aquavit ever.
Because I gave you a dill aquavit?
Dill is the worst thing to consume. I don't want dill on my sandwiches. I don't want dill anywhere except in my pickles. That's it.
In my pickles.
Sean tells us iced is a way to distill, quote unquote, without using a still.
Yeah, so it's like an iced beer, and I think if you go way back, Nick the Brewer talked about almost freezing his beers to remove the water after he had brewed it, and then what was left was a more dense version of the alcohol liquor or the alcohol beer.
Yeah, because beer or alcohol freezes at different temperatures. So
yeah, and water is 90% beer anyways.
Yeah. At that point, I caught it. Go back to the Tenacity episode when they distilled their beer.
I wasn't here for that one.
Oh, you missed. I'm gonna have to.
I'm sure I listened to it, but
the Tenacity episode, they actually they don't have. This is what they did at home. They actually distilled their beer, so they took like 5 gallons of their cider and basically turned it into an apple brandy.
Yeah.
They did it with 4 or 5 different beers, so we got to try the beer and then the liquor that they made from the beer.
So
the
other thing,
Sean is our distiller. So
Yeah.
when we eventually
you're
get the
going that-
license, we're gonna go that route
already
once we
got
get
it-
going.
We already got it approved from the city to distill as well.
this city doesn't give a fuck.
yeah, no, I know, but we did that originally. But we wanted to get on the ground. Distilling is a whole different animal, and what's required, both from the feds and from what you need equipment wise.
And
We
you
just
need a
wanted
guy
to get
named
up and running. Yeah.
And you need a guy named Popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn, exactly. Missing some teeth. But no, so Sean actually learned how to still from a master distiller. So that's how he got started distilling before he brewed or made cider. So that was his start into the world of alcohol.
He
So
always
what
tells
did
us
you?
there's no such thing as a bad beer. It's just alcohol. You'll put it in the still and
Yeah, exactly. He said if we make a bad beer, we just run it through the still, and then you got alcohol. So it's good.
What did you guys pour us right now?
This is a Citra IPA.
pale ale.
Pale ale. Sorry, Citra Pale Ale.
Is this another one where I'm not getting any bitterness? I'm getting a little bit of citrus.
There's not a lot of bitterness.
He
in
doesn't.
But-
He doesn't like
So-
bitter, so these are.
Well, he's smart.
this doesn't have very much bitterness at all.
I'm getting this. I'm getting the citra. I think what we're missing though is since they're coming out of Growlers, you're not getting the carbonation to really.
You're definitely not getting the carbonation.
You're not getting that to kind of put the bitterness on your forefront.
Yeah, these drove around in my son's car seat all day today, so they've been shaking and baking. So I'm sure that we lost some of that carbonation.
Well, thank you to your son for accommodating.
I left him so that I could put these in there. So
Before we take a break, top fan, as Facebook tells me, Andrew Parr wants to ask Matt,
Oh God.
is there an update with the saga with your neighbors?
You know what? That's a great way to end. That's a great way to end this segment. And yes, there is an update, and we will fill you in right after this quick break.
You know what we're gonna do next break or before next break?
Give away a gift card.
We're gonna give away $20.
Okay.
wow,
We're literally gonna
don't
just
give it to Sean.
Don't give it to Sean. Make yourself
Sorry,
known
Sean.
in the chat room. All you got to do is let us know you're here. We're going to pick one of you randomly. You tell us the brewery. We call them. We buy you a $20 gift card. You show up and drink $20 worth of beer on Better on Draft.
Please still
Simple.
tip your wait staff.
Oh, yeah. Still tip, of course.
Except for Sean.
I'm just sometimes you got to say that.
You know, that's fair. That's fair. We've definitely given away a lot of kegs of beer. And we have to make sure people
You still need to tip your
still
wait staff.
tip. We'll be right back. Better on Draft Podcast.
I'm headed for the city, trouble in my mind. I'm way too young and pretty for things to be unkind. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then. Gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh. I'm headed for the city. See what I can unwind. Always gotta start it to be tamed. Make it in this life. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then. Gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 These eyes ain't looking back home. No, I'm now by myself on this road.
And we are back, episode 196, Better on Draft Podcast. That was Brother Son from the Ferndale set. Still with us in studio, the folks from Copper Hop. Our chat blew up a little bit. We're going to give it a few more minutes before we give away our $20 gift card. I believe that whole first segment was brought to you by the folks over at Baffin for how many times you dropped Evan's name and Joe's name and stuff. But he does say hi. He is in the chat right now.
Don't give him $20.
No, we're not going to give Evan $20. Sorry. Disqualified. If you've been on the show, you are disqualified. Or if you have two first names as your full name, Sean Anthony.
Well, so we had a question. Andrew? Was it Andrew?
Yes.
All right, Andrew. So the dog, so just backstory if you're
You got
backstory
this.
if you don't know this. I live next to renters in St. Clair Shores. I love my community, but I hate my neighbors. They're the type of people whose dog barks at everything, and it's a lab. So if you're within a half block, it's barking at you on the way there and for another half block on the way out. So, and they let the dog out 4 o'clock in the morning, everything. Anyway, so to answer your question, is there an update? Yes. So about 3 weeks ago, the neighbor finally got the pop-up trailer in the driveway out. So he and his wife loaded up, took the pop-up trailer. I think they were on vacation. The daughter was still there, still letting the dog bark at every little thing in the world.
So she's the one that let the dog out.
One of them, yes.
Now we know.
So I had a good 2 weeks because really the people that are bad are the mother and the father because they're just sitting around the house all day putzing around. And so with the daughter being there, intermittently the dog's not out that much. So I was living the high life for a minute. The higher life, you might call it.
Higher life.
And, well, guess what? Last week I saw the trailer returned. So literally there's a trailer in my neighbor's front yard, and he just sits out under his carport at his little outdoor table, whittling wood, rocking away to Queen on his FM radio.
Well, Queen's awesome, so I mean, you shouldn't care about that.
But he's like trying to karaoke to it.
Oh, yeah. And the dog's barking the whole time.
And the dog's barking.
Is it bark in unison, like in?
Oh God, no. So it's been a rough week. 2 weeks ago, great. Dogs quiet. People gone. But the carnies are back. So we'll be taking action here shortly, probably around the beginning of this year. Hope, provided the market stays good. And
the beginning
maybe
of this year.
the
How
end
long
of-
is the beginning of this year? Because we're in like October.
of 2020, the coming year. So maybe I might acquire a property. So who knows?
Acquired the other side.
No, so I'm thinking I might try to, since they're renters, I'm just going to reach out to their landlord and say, hey, how much do you want? And then buy the house and then have a meeting with them and say,
rent it.
and then say, so about your rent. Yeah, nice. So we're going to play a little bit of good cop, bad cop.
We do have a question from the chat for Copper Hop. What is one skill you never expected to have to use in brewing?
Wow, that's a deep question.
I think whoever asked
One
that question
skill.
should get the gift card.
Chemistry.
All right, Andrew Parr, top fan.
Oh,
Congratulations. Based on Matt's decision, you have won the $20 gift card.
I am not looking at who asked those questions, just so you know.
Reach out to us here on Better on Draft, and we will figure out where to buy your card. But still, I'm trying to stall for you guys to think of the
No,
answer.
I guess, is it a skill that we have or
I'm
a skill
guessing,
that
I
we
mean-
should have that we need?
Or maybe
Either
something that
or.
you learned along the way. Now you're really good
I mean,
at
my
it.
math needs to be better. I feel like that's a skill I should have.
That's what a calculator is for.
iPhone.
I think honestly, for me, being like the newest out of the three partners to like get into brewing, what's fascinating to me is the chemistry of it all, and that's probably the skill that I think I need to learn. I wish I would have paid more attention in chemistry.
So we got to start getting teenagers drunk so they can learn lessons.
Yeah, exactly. If I would have been drinking like this but no, I mean, it's amazing when you listen to podcasts on like, the Brewing Network or, any of those where they talk about just the chemistry and how much yeast can change the flavor of a grain bill or a beer or anything like that. It's really, it's really amazing stuff how it works. I mean, you stress the yeast, like the different things you can do to the yeast to really change the flavor of the beer. So that for me was the biggest skill that I guess I wish I had going into this, but also probably the coolest thing that I'm going to get to learn through this process.
What about you, Jeremy?
Biggest skill. Can you repeat the question?
Not listening. The answer
Ryan
is
took
not
forever.
listening.
I zoned out during his answer. I'm
What
not
is
gonna lie.
what is one skill you never expected to have to use in brewing?
One skill?
Cleaning.
Yeah. Well, cleaning. Is that a skill?
Don't give him the answer.
I mean, there are people.
Yeah. I told you math. A lot of math. I didn't think I'd have to do so much adding and subtracting, looking at scales. I don't know. I'm stretching here. I've never really thought about the skills required.
Well, Ryan mentioned about the yeast and how the yeast can play such a big part. And I think that's why I love whenever people go to Asheville, I always tell them to go to White Labs, because White Labs, they brew the same beer, 3 or 4 different ways with 3 or 4 different yeast strains. Yeah. And everything else is the same except for the yeast. And you're able to actually see the difference of the yeast build in every single beer that you make.
Yeah. No, and that's, I mean, it's cool. Actually, my cousin, her boyfriend graduated from MIT as a chemist, and he's a brewer. So he's already way above our chemistry set. But that's how he does it. He brews one beer, and he just puts it into different fermenters, and he just adds different yeast profiles to each one to create different beers out of it. It's really cool stuff.
Another question from the chat: what style of beer is your favorite? And how do you hope to put a novel spin on that for the brewery?
For me, I love IPAs. My favorite beer, if I were to pinpoint one, is probably Maharaja by Avery.
Is this a new beer?
No,
Or
I
is it
think
the one you
Same
said?
one.
Okay.
Do you want the same one?
No, thank you.
Give him the other one. He liked that one better. But no,
Oh no! I'm just gonna stick
I'm
to
a big,
Seltzer.
So I've always liked IPAs, but recently I've gotten more into stouts. I really enjoy stouts. So but for me, Maharaj is my favorite beer. So IPAs.
IPAs. What about you, Jeremy?
Styles I like the best. The style I like the best that I brew is cream ale. And the twist that I'm going to throw on it is I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to come try it. But it's a delicious cream ale. I really think that we
Did you put lactose in it?
No, did not.
Did you barrel age it?
No, not yet.
Is it a black cream ale or a
Nope,
brute
it's
cream
a
ale?
pretty good cream ale.
Is it a hazy cream ale?
I'll give you a hint.
Well, I mean, it kind of has to be hazy because there's corn in it.
The spin on it is the yeast. So that'll be a hint for you. So we talked about yeast. That's the spin on it. So
The yeast.
The yeast.
Just making a good cream ale. How about that? That's how we're going to try to. Not saying anybody makes a bad cream ale. We're just going to try to make a better cream ale.
I know a place that sold a terrible cream ale called Shipwreck Brewing Company.
I didn't want to say any names.
Oh, gladly. But you know who sells great cream ales? Zatuna Liquor, just south of M59 in Rochester Hills.
There you go.
Go talk to Jack and Gus and the boys, and subscribe. You can actually pick up my beer box there. So
You can pick up a My Beer Box at
Zatuna Liquor.
Zatuna Liquor.
So stop there and order your my beer box like Ryan did by winning a contest.
Yeah,
this
okay.
little cheater over here.
I haven't gotten it yet. I don't know if it's
Well,
coming.
we're going to ship orders probably Tuesday, so you'll probably end up getting them this following Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, and you can go to that brewery coming up next weekend. So plan, if you're going to the Fall Beer Fest, it might just be a place that you can stop by and not too far away from it. So it might be a great time.
Nice.
So every single week, Rob and a couple other people update the news on our list. And I'm looking at one of the things, and this is definitely an interesting concept that I want to get your guys' opinion on. Because obviously we talked earlier about, low ABV, non-alcoholic beers, knowing your limits. This is going to be a bar in South City. I'm trying to look for the state, but it is...
I think you should tell us the bar and see if we can guess the state.
well, the city is South City. The bar is called Open Concept.
Oh, I heard this. It's in.
It's going to be in Missouri.
Yes, and they're doing the hourly rate for all you
See,
can
we
drink.
totally would have won that
There-
competition.
You're going to do an hourly rate. So you could do $10 per hour for premium drinks or $20 per hour for top shelf. All of your drinks are going to be tracked. You basically sign off with your cell phone saying that you're drinking this alcohol so that you stay within compliance limit. With the state of Michigan, technically,
It's just a natty.
It's on this.
There's
it's on
a
this-
lot in
It's
there.
on the
so it
Samsung.
should work
It's
out.
okay. He's getting a new one.
Well, I still have to pay the
I was going to say
restocking fee. Oh, Jesus. Ryan is just killing everybody.
I didn't touch anything. I haven't moved.
All right, well,
Well, Rob arrived. Hello, Rob.
Just so you know, I picked up my beer.
Nice. Way to go there, Matrix.
would you guys pay $10 an hour or $20 an hour to drink at a bar?
Plus cost of drinks.
No.
Well,
Does that include
$20
all your drinks?
all
No,
you
well,
can drink.
Here's the kicker, though, and I don't know if you've read this yet, because I actually heard this the other day.
97.1 on the radio?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So they actually take your driver's license is required. They take your height and your weight from your driver's license, and they limit your drinks based on a calculation they have for how tall and how much you weigh. So they will not let you pass a number of drinks within an hour.
Really?
So while it sounds like you could just go in there and get blitzed, you actually have a limit on how many you can drink per hour.
Yeah,
This is
my
great for
limit-
big guys, but terrible for
If
little
my
guys.
limit's 1.8 beers per hour,
Yeah.
then I'm not.
Yeah,
not
Well,
in it.
I don't know if it's gonna. I think it's gonna be pure liquor. It looks very makeshift bar-y, almost as if you went to your like some relatives. What do you call it? Some relatives' wedding. And they provided the liquor, and they provided the mixers,
Right,
and
yeah.
they provided the glasses, and they didn't pay like a per person fee.
Right.
That's what it kind of looks like here.
Well, they said too that you have to book in it. You can't just walk in. You have to actually make reservations for your table. So
I don't know. It's a
Well,
concept.
you know what? This CBS KMOV4 Justin Andrews News 4 reporter, you need to put more information in your shit.
97 won the ticket had more information.
Yeah, and one trend that I'm surprised it never caught on was the virtual bartender. You walk and you get a fob, and you scan it, it pours for you. Like, you remember probably about 15 years ago when we would go to Augie's, well, not you and I, but separately, obviously.
Yeah. We've probably been there together, but not together.
You remember they used to give that 130-ounce beer? And it was the
Augie's.
I
I
think
remember they used to do it at On the Rocks. They used to give the tall bullet
Well, I don't know. They would call it
for
the
the
tower,
table, and you could
would
pour your own beer.
And it would be a Labatt hockey mask with a giant tower, and you would pour your own.
Like a beer bong.
Yeah. And they would drop that off, and you would have to have like 2 to 3 people minimum to even serve it. But I'm just surprised that technology hasn't leaped to the point where you have that virtual bartender that just
Would you like the not having the interaction with the waitstaff to talk to you tell you about the beer and give you that experience?
I don't like one of the biggest issue here that we're discussing is if everybody's getting free beer constantly, then the waitstaff is literally running in circles. There's not a time where, like, if I'm paying for my time as opposed to for my beer, then as soon as I'm done with one, I want this next one because I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah, but if they're limiting you to 2 or 3, I mean, that's pretty much all you can drink in an hour anyways.
Challenge accepted. A. B,
well,
how dare you?
Not if it's free. I mean, if you're going and paying
He means
per
if
beer,
it's only 2 beers an hour, you're gonna be waiting for the next one.
You're going to be sipping
you're
on them
be
anyways.
watching your clock like,
Otherwise,
come on, hour.
Well, that's another
10
thing. Like,
minutes.
where do you kind of figure out, like, if you pay for an hour, but they only let you drink 1 beer an hour, so then now you're paying $10 for 1 beer for 1 hour.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's warm, but you're just sipping on it
You know
so
what?
slow.
At the end of the day, they are winning already because we're talking about it, and this is a bar in Missouri. You know what I mean? Like, it's a gimmick, and we're talking about it right now.
As Matt kind of mentioned, how come that technology exists. There was a place called Wine and Tapas that was at the Tin Cup Stadium. Do you know what minor league baseball team that is?
The Tin Cups?
The Tin Cups.
Great movie.
Sounds like an amazing baseball.
Oh, shit. No, I don't.
It's going to be Fort Wayne.
Okay.
So the Fort Wayne, Indiana baseball stadium used to have a wine bar which had the fobs. And you would be the fob would put a price point on it, and then obviously per ounce for whatever wine that you chose, that was a draft pour wine system. You went up there, you put the fob in, you poured as much wine as you wanted, and it took it right off of it. There's also a bar that, what's that stupid thing where you shouldn't own a bar, but they save you? Bar Rescue.
Shipwreck?
Jesus.
Has
Has there been a show that's happened where
They were actually on.
Yeah, I know, but since they've closed, every show I've listened to, I think they come up somehow.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not
Matt
even lying.
brings them up every single time.
I think I invested more money into that place than everybody else. I was there. I probably went there a dozen times.
Really?
Yeah, because I would
Before or after Hazen was there?
both.
Really?
Well, the thing is, I would go to Baffin, and I would just ride my bicycle home, and I
It'd
would
be on
stop
the
there
way.
to get
Pit
sober
stop.
because it would take me 45 minutes to get service and drink one of their garbage beers.
Well, the bad part is you were with what, Spencer and Pipenbrock at one
And
point,
Leon.
and like the owner asked them that table, "What do you know about beer?" And I'm like, oh,
You know what? Really, the worst part is that apparently all the local breweries reached out to them to offer help, and they just said no, we're good. Like you.
No, even
to
worse, he
me-
said he wanted to put them out of business. He wanted to run St. Clair Shores.
Yeah.
No, that's even better. Didn't hear that aspect
Yeah.
of the story.
No,
But again,
I mean,
going
what
back
not
to
to?
layers.
They just laid a great roadmap of what not to do. Basically,
The
is what they
shipwreck
did.
method.
Yeah.
going back to the
Can I have a pour on that?
the brewery in Missouri. Again, the technology is there, but for states, there's a lot of laws against it. And secondly, when you have your own self-serve places, like there are technically a couple self-serve places. Not necessarily self-serve. There's a volleyball bar in Lansing or East Lansing area that has a kiosk over in the volleyball courts. And
I don't know why golf courses don't have these kiosks every like 3 holes.
They would make so much money.
They
Like,
would.
if you didn't have to have a cart, girl.
The problem is the technology isn't there for golf courses to have good cellular service.
Well, again, I would go back to the key fob. If you when you rent your golf cart,
you put a credit card on it.
You just get a fob.
Yeah, well, the fob has your credit card in.
Yeah, and you get your beer, and then hole 3, there's a keg stand or there's a
Keg
cooler,
stand's nice.
and you literally put it up.
Golf course
This is an awesome
Is it a
golf
mini
course.
golf course? Because I would not be able to golf after that.
But like my thought is like you just put your key fob. Like they check your ID. They only give it to those 21. You sign an affidavit saying I will use this to my sole discretion, and you go to hole 3, you want a beer, you press your thing, and it's every 3 holes, and then it fills your beer up, and then you just go to the next hole.
In fairness, I think there'd be a lot more incomplete 18-hole golf games.
But there would be more beer sales, and you make more money on beer than you do on.
they're still paying for 18 holes, so
They
the
need
golf course
some
is
sort of
winning
cart
regardless.
to go gather people.
There's a booze cart.
Instead of a golf cart girl selling you the beer, you'd have
there's
to
an
have that
Uber.
golf cart
There's an
girl that
Uber
just
golf
puts you in the
cart,
back of like
basically.
a gurney type thing.
But there'd be so many fuddy duddies that
wagon.
would be just like pushing them forward.
Right?
Well, yeah. Well, you talk about what about having like an app, like a beer delivery service. Like you could order a beer Uber for your next
boober?
hole, a boober.
A boober.
Set up for the golf course.
Yeah.
I love
So
Ubers.
as the beer cart, like you could have the beer cart that's just normally driving around, and then on my app I could pay an extra $1 for the beer cart to come to me, or an extra $2, and that beer cart will now come to me, and I'll order all my beer, or they'll bring the beer that I want to the next hole that I'm going to.
I think that's too much. I think you got to keep it simple, stupid. Like
That's-
you put a
that's pretty
cooler,
simple.
You put a cooler or a kegerator at every 4 holes, and you just fill that back up.
No. 3. You were onto the thing.
Okay, that's,
3 holes.
that means you get.
You know what? You could do almost like a vending machine where you have to put your license in to check your date of birth, and then you put your credit card in and let it vend.
But basically, I mean, if it's going to be the same beer, why not put the kegerator on the damn cart?
Right. Or just buy as many beers as you know you
Look
can
at
drink.
this guy innovating on my innovation.
Why are we
Well,
worrying about getting out to
You don't
get
golf
the
though.
beer?
You don't golf.
You,
do
sir, are the
Excuse
winner.
you?
Do you golf?
Yeah.
Where would you put the kegerator on the car?
You'd have to make a bigger cart.
Yeah,
You
have
need
to
a
make,
bit-
you
yeah.
make it bigger.
Well, that's too big of an overall.
Nobody uses that stupid basket. What do you throw in there? Your
My
golf,
beer.
Empties.
Right.
your golf ball thing.
Ice
your
with
empties.
ba- ice with
Yeah,
beer.
my ice in my beer.
Right,
go.
right.
It's
Nobody,
not bad.
you
Right.
put a
You don't use
sixtel
that
in there.
basket. Yeah.
Or a
and-
beer
and there
vending
you
machine.
go.
You're getting it. That's too complicated. Because you can't put a sixtel.
Well,
in
you
a-
know what? The problem is,
Or actually, you
how rough are you driving? You pouring
Yeah,
foam the
that
whole
too.
time.
That too. All right.
Pouring
Yeah.
foam
Hold on.
the whole time.
What you know?
The more you drink, the more foam you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Well, I just put it together.
Okay.
You know those pricks that walk with the cart thing?
Yeah.
Pricks.
You know,
Healthy sons of bitches.
That's the hand card.
That don't freaking
Okay,
rent a
I
what
golf
prefer to call
cart.
them senior citizens.
what if you put a sixtel on the walking cart, tied it to the actual golf cart, and then you've got the portable party pump?
That's
Still
a
sounds
trailer
foamy.
hitch gone bad right
Yeah, it
there,
still
man.
I
sounds
still
foamy.
think it's going to be super foamy. Every
You're
3
looking
holes,
back and it's on its side.
Right.
You're just dragging the thing.
you can do it every
divot, like a 100-yard
every
divot.
2 holes and just change the variety at every 2 holes.
Oh
That
shit,
way
we're supposed to be
someone's
90
happy.
degrees.
I think we're really losing what golf is supposed to be. Is it a drinking sport now? Is that all golf
Honestly,
is?
I want to see more foot golf.
It's
Yeah.
basically just bowling except
Some
outside.
soccer.
Outdoor football, yeah, outdoor bowling.
Yeah.
it's this. I mean, it's just
Now, see, as a bowler, I would love a pour your own beer type section, because as much as, mind you, the bowling alleys that I go to, though the wait staff is probably some of the best wait staff, because they're usually fast, on point, because they're getting tips, because there's so much cash that gets thrown around. Everyone's got cash on them. Rarely anyone pays with card at a bowling alley unless you're like going to the bar or something like that. Like if you're ordering a bucket of beer, you got cash on you because you got cash for potlucks, jackpots,
50-50s.
50-50s, strike ball, mystery.
You're bringing
There are
in.
more potlucks.
I won the green bean casserole, Johnny.
You're bringing in your mac and cheese. Like
Yeah, these are the kinds of like the places for cash, but I would still love to be able to just go and pour my own beer on my own time. I think the problem is that they're so good that they keep bringing me beer, and I'm not just kind of going at my own pace. I'm going at a sped up pace because I'm like, oh, I need to buy beer now because I'm on my last beer in my bucket and I need another 5 for the next game.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how fast you guys drink at bowling, but fuck, I drink fast at bowling.
I'm not a good bowler.
Yeah, I'm a terrible bowler, so it's usually just more drinking.
My wife makes fun of me because my knee starts to hurt after like 2 games. And then I'm like some old person with like a knee problem.
Do they just give you the ramp to just put your ball on top of them and push it over then?
Yeah, I put the bumpers up and everything. Yeah.
But he's drinking, so it's a good time.
No, but I'm.
Well, I mean,
it's like
that's-
golf,
that's-
I mean,
right? That's
I'm
what
not
you're
good
there
at
for.
golf, but whatever.
I'll play
Nobody's
some
good at
golden tea all
golf.
day long with some beers.
I'll play some Golden
Some
Eye.
I
Eye
have
or golden
seen.
Chug before you
They
respawn.
already
Don't
redid it, and it was
don't
not
put a
great.
golden tea machine in your bar.
No, we won't.
I have seen a lot of bar. Mind you, I've gone to so many bars with my job, and I have seen like brand new golden tea machines, and there are like a good 4 to 8 guys cycling through 18 holes playing golden tea for money, and the amount of money they're throwing down on this video game, and I'm like, wow.
You're telling me not to do this?
Well,
Because it
no,
goes to the Golden Tea, not to you
that-
guys.
it goes
Oh,
to the
yeah,
other
drinking.
players.
Oh, gotcha.
They're not. A lot of them aren't drinking, or they're drinking very, very lightly. They're drinking water
They
or
gotta spend all their
soda.
money on their wagers.
Yeah, they got to spend money on golden tea and gambling against other people playing.
I mean, you could do something like that, like cornhole tournaments, just have a golden tea
You
tournament.
guys do have a huge building.
We actually have darts in there.
Oh, that sounds.
All right, we need to take a vote. Opinion vote real quick.
2 dartboards.
Do we need do we want plastic tip
Yes.
electric dartboard or metal tipped real dartboard?
No, you gotta do it proper. You gotta do
Okay.
it.
Well, you're not involved in
Well,
this
there's-
survey.
there-
This
there's-
is like a
Do you
chat
want to
room
pay an insurance
survey.
claim in the first month or not?
Listen, I mean,
This-
there's
more of
there's
a-
two
just
different
a
theories
dart.
about it because there are a lot of people. How many dartboards are you going to get?
just 2.
Okay, then you're going to go with steel tip.
But you have to have a dart league.
Are dart leagues
Well,
steel tip or plastic?
No, most
Steel
most,
tips.
No, most dart leagues are plastic. Like
Damn
if
it.
you go to
See,
Freer
that's why I
Bar or
was
you
opening
go
it up.
to
Like the chat should answer us because I have no clue.
like
I've heard
like
it's all
if you go
plastic.
to Freer Bar, or you go to a lot of other like I
But when I
used to-
crushed
when
all
I
the
was
guys at-
when I was 15 years old, I used to be in dart leagues at bars because I used to play all the time because I'm a 15-year-old. What else am I going to do?
Yeah.
Play video games and I had
Talk to girls.
no, not at all. That was a fuck. I mean, I am still a nerd.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I had a dartboard at home. So I was able to practice at home, and I used to go to LeBaron's over at
Yes,
16 and a half
LeBaron's,
and get my good.
Did you have a shirt that said #1 son on
They're
it?
still open.
No.
LeBaron's is still
Oh
there.
yeah, I mean that's such a
Place you go for billiards.
Yeah, billiards and darts. That's a
Yeah.
necessity of a place that will survive simply for what it is. With that, like I used to play, and plastic is where all the tournaments are. Plastic.
I just
is,
remember going to Brewing number, and I was running all of you guys at 300.
Oh, I
with
got
steel tips.
Yeah, you got to think. I played at like 15, 16, and then I got a car and I stopped
Give him the
playing.
disclaimer that it's not.
Or I used to play Laser Quest, obviously. What's the disclaimer?
There's no disclaimer.
no, I was just telling the beer is not carved to its full extent. So,
Well, what are your guys' favorite bar games? When you go to a bar, what do you want to
Shuffleboard.
Sadly, it's golden tea.
Shuffleboard was probably my favorite.
Now, do you want a gathering play style shuffleboard, the little tiny ass
no,
one?
I
or
want like the full-fledged, like
full-fledged one.
20-footers.
Wait, Gathering Place's shuffleboard might be tiny, but the warp in the table and the lack of it being level
That is
makes it
monumental.
Very difficult.
Don't forget the bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
'Cause they have the rubber
Playing
walls.
your
in the
own
center.
version of golf right there.
Very difficult.
You have
play
to
that.
really become like a.
We were playing today, and you would get it in the 3, and the spin would bring it all the way back out to the 1.
The thing is that is like PTSD at the Gathering Place because I still play shuffleboard like I'm at the Gathering Place.
Yeah, you're
trying
like
to
so
because
soft.
you've got to be soft and you've got to like roll into the crevice instead of out of the crevice.
Yeah.
So every place I think that has the same thing, but no, it's just the Gathering Place
Yep.
is like
No ability to recalibrate.
it's like the bouncy board at Joe Louis Arena.
right.
You know, you get to figure
You
out
know where it is, and you're the home team advantage type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like the Orleans, like that length, the natural.
Where you don't have to bounce.
You know, you just it's all.
You could
skill.
fold in your building.
You know what? So the space we
Urban
have
bowling.
is perfect
Yeah.
for duck pin bowling, and if you don't know what it is, look it up. That's what we wanted to do there, and eventually that's what we're going to do in that space.
Oh my God, you have like a sale right there. Because
Right.
I will come and
You're
dug
making
and
so
bowl.
many promises.
No,
before we
I-
actually
listen,
find a
is that
functional
what
machine.
the-
Well, no, I mean,
strings?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
the little
with
pins
the
and the strings
strings.
and
We just
like the
can't-
ski
yeah, we
ball.
have-
Canadian bowling.
No,
No,
No.
Canadian bowling doesn't have strings.
We just had the small bowl, and it's like
You're thinking maybe like going to the Honest Lawyer in Canada and playing like little
just see it on,
bowling
like,
game there.
ESPN the Ocho. The guy's got like a
So-
softball.
But you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know the little bowling alley in the
Is that
back.
even still there?
I have no
If
idea.
you go to
Lord.
if you go to Columbus, which I hate Ohio State, but Columbus as a city is actually really cool. There's a place called Pins, and they have duck pin bowling, and that's where
I'm gonna have to remember
that's-
that next time I go
That's
to
where I
Columbus.
fell in love with the game. But it's a little ball like a skee ball almost.
I saw
And-
something like that in Green Bay once.
Yeah,
or
and
Milwaukee.
It's so fun. It's just a real cool game, and it's a miniature bowling alley basically. So.
All right, so we're gonna play a quick little game before we take break. Well, Rob, what's your bar game of choice?
My bar game of choice is a good sit down Miss Pac-Man
Well, a little
with the speed
a,
chip.
a little cocktail table.
Yeah,
bubble hockey. How did we not talk bubble hockey?
Bubble hockey.
too much coordination. I ain't got time.
No,
I'm drinking. I ain't got time for that shit.
I found one the other day.
All right. Hold on. So you guys ever play table soccer, foosball?
Yeah.
The foosball.
Baffin has foosball. We used to play.
Yeah.
all the time.
Wait,
The
Baffin
beach
has
line has.
foosball. When did
Yeah.
they get foosball?
The table.
About 3 months ago. Yeah, they bumped out.
Kind of like gathering places, shuffleboard.
Yeah, you really gotta switch sides. There's an advantage.
That's what she said.
Man, I used to play all the time and I would love it, but then so I would always play people who would like spin and like try to get as fast as
yeah, you
possible.
can't
I'm
do
like,
that.
no,
You're not allowed to
you
spin.
can't do that.
I lost a bet in college at foosball, and I had to run around the frat house naked.
Oh, that's not surprising. All right, so what year did the Honest Lawyer close in Windsor, Ontario?
2007.
2008.
I'm gonna go with 2006.
$1, Bob.
2013 it lasted.
Wow.
That stayed around for a while.
It doesn't have any, or it does have 8 reviews on Yelp, so it looks like it was probably very, very early into Yelp and not so much after. Yeah, they used to have bubble hockey there, apparently, as what Yelp says. But yeah, I remember going to the Honest Lawyer to play little, not duck, like little string bowling.
And they had weird shaped pool tables.
Those are called bumper pool.
No, but they actually had. Didn't they have?
I
weird
love bumper
shaped-
pool.
That's a
by the
different.
way.
That's a different game entirely.
Like
Yeah.
That's like chess versus canasta.
It was different shapes.
But while
I
we're on
thought
the subject
maybe I'm just-
of Windsor, if you ever go over there, Sandwich Brewing Company. I don't know if you've ever been there or not. They're on Sandwich Street, right across the
I
bridge.
haven't really been to
For
Windsor.
all the times that we talk about beer, we really should just go to Windsor for.
You know what? It sucks because you want to go there and drink, but then you got to like cross a border, right? So it's like unless you're gonna go there and spend the night, it's hard to go there. And
Were you
get-
not 19 once?
I was, but I didn't drive at those. I'm an adult
plus,
now, and
plus
I
you were
can't-
19. Did you really care?
I was gonna say,
I
it's an
drove
issue.
back through Windsor in a trunk of a car once. That's how bad it was. But no, Sandwich Brewing.
No, that's how much
Company-
they used to not care
Oh,
until.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now you need a
Those-
passport
yeah,
or an enhanced
passport.
license.
But no,
Not
Sandwich
just,
Brewing
I live in
Company. You
Michigan.
got to go there and give it a shot. Their white Bronco, it's like an M43 but better.
Oh, because
Because it's
like
juice.
Because it's Canada. Everything they do is better, right? I think that's what.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
I don't know if you can say that. We're on a podcast.
I hate for that beer to get away from me.
No, but they're great guys over there, and the brewery itself is beautiful. It's an old building, and it's really cool guys.
Andrew was actually mentioning something that I really want to do that I have yet to do yet, and that's duck pin bowling.
Yeah.
You just said that.
Not duck pin bowling. He says duck pin bowling. What he said that, and what I heard was candle pin bowling. Have you guys ever done candle pin bowling?
No.
So candle pin bowling is it uses the same ball as a Canadian bowling, and it's 10 pins. You have 3 shots at it, kind of like Canadian bowling, but they don't
because of the exchange rate.
No, it's the bald eagles to make.
Never watched Canadian bowling.
I have.
So
How many
in
kilograms is a Canadian bowling ball?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But they don't re-rack after every shot. So like, there's pins that'll be laying in the middle of the
Can I throw
alley.
overhand then too?
You cannot throw overhand. And if you ever go to like a lot of Canadian bowling places, especially near the border, have this giant wall so you don't overhand throw the bowling ball, so that you're rolling it under it because
Fucking
of
you can
bounce
idiots
it, you
like
can
you.
bounce
Fucking degens.
Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back with the Better on Draft podcast. And we're back, 196 Better on Draft podcast. For those of you who did not pay attention, Rob did join us sometime during the that last segment.
Mike's not on. There we go. How you doing?
There you go.
So
Hey,
hold on, I gotta
what's
find
going
out. Are we gonna do this 15% cider or not?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna do the
But,
15% cider.
Just a sip. We don't have to try to.
I don't know where my glass is.
right in front of you.
You can figure it out.
Right by the
You
You figure it out.
You
by
figure
the
it
You
out.
let that marinate.
not White
Then
Claws.
you should finish yours. I mean,
So I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a new beer in Michigan that does get distributed now to Michigan. Surly out of Minnesota is in the state. Which
Oh, Minnesota,
nobody,
eh?
Minnesota.
You eat yet?
Nobody will care about in
better?
1 month.
One of the best.
No offense to Surly, I like their beer, but that's one thing that I think we've seen, and it stopped. It started with Ballast Point
No,
with our show.
with Fat Tire.
No,
it was
Fat
pre-show,
Tire
right?
was here. Fat Tire was here for a minute before it died fast.
Yeah.
I think Ballast Point was definitely the first one that kind of came in, and then nobody
Oh
cared.
my Christ!
Same
From my
with-
nose-
Same with Beguile, and Surly will be the
Hoppin'
same,
Frog.
and Hoppin' Frog, and Cigar City. All these beers that are coming into the state, to be honest, as good as they are, you're literally losing the aspect of being a non-Michigan available beer, and then nobody will care about you.
But okay, so I actually think I have a new theory about this, and it just struck me.
Is it a theory of a dead man?
It could be. We could go on theory of that. We got theory of a barbecue sauce right in front of me here.
Hey,
this is actually
Amazing.
really.
My thought is that's because of the proliferation of breweries. Like, I don't know about you. I don't know when the last time I went to a multi-tap or a place that's focused in serving, craft breweries.
Like a poorhouse.
A poorhouse. A former sponsor, Brown Iron Brew House. Like, I don't go to those places. I don't seek them out.
They brew their own beer now.
Yeah. Well, they always have.
They have for a bit, but usually it's only like 3 to 4 taps max out of their 69.
So like
taps.
Howlers and Growlers is over by us,
Right, yeah.
and they have 41, and it's strictly craft Michigan beer or craft beers. And I think I might have been there like 3 to 4 times last year because I'm always at breweries trying their beer. So I think the proliferation of breweries and people going to those breweries kind of stops people seeking out going to that tap house and trying what's new from California or Colorado because they're not having that exposure.
I don't want that poorhouse feeling anymore. I want to go to a bar, have a handful of taps. Like I want the ability to go with whatever. Matt did not like that beer.
It's barbecue sauce.
I want to be able to go to a bar and I want to be able to maybe order a light lager if it's a discount or if I'm just trying to continue a buzz and not get drunker. I also want to have the few options of whether it's crafty or craft. Like I don't care if it's Killian's Irish Red or Rochester Red. Like give me something that's a little more in my wheelhouse because no matter what they're gonna have Sam Adams probably they're gonna have Two Hearted.
But I think the new poorhouse, like a Hopcat, isn't going to have a
Well,
Sam Adams or-
Hopcat's hemorrhaging money right now because
People are going to breweries.
People are going to breweries. They need people to come in, and they've started serving poor beer in people's opinions. Because they have like Miller Lite on draft right now.
Hopcat
Really?
Hopcat died the day they changed Crack Fry's name. That was really the downfall. Yeah, it's me.
They're like,
I'm a long person. I'm sorry. But no, when they changed Crack Fries, it was like, what are these out of space fries or whatever the hell they're called?
Cosmic.
Cosmic fries.
Yeah, there we
Cosmic
go.
fries.
It happened in February, by the
Yeah,
way.
that was the downfall. Let's just be honest here.
I don't think the crack fries were that good to begin with. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily.
Newsflash. Just because you put cinnamon on French fries doesn't make them great.
I mean, Shamrock has better fries than Utica. Let's be honest.
You can get away with 10 to 12 taps at a bar and be perfectly fine with 4 to 5 of them being either light lager, Canadian lager, full lager, and
Diesel.
Yeah, you can get away and not. You don't need that many choices anymore. Like
No.
it was great. It was an allure, but if you look at a lot of poorhouses prior to the inclination of your Hopcat, like we used to talk about it, and sadly Dan isn't here and Nick isn't here, but West 50 in Mississauga, Ontario, we used to go there all the time when we were in Toronto because they would have 150 taps. And you could order it, and it was a great experience. But now that I can get great beer in so many places, not just a poorhouse. And I think that's the problem is that you have, as you mentioned, and your theory is correct, you have a Hopcat, but you also have, let's use Hopcat Detroit. You have Batch Brewing, Brew Detroit, Eastern Market Brewing, Motor City, Traffic Jam, Jolly Pumpkin, Lager House number 5 is about to open, Brewery Faison's about to open.
That was the most like Zelda moment I ever had last night. I swear to Jesus. So I was at
Baby Jesus.
You were just talking about Lager House. Did you not see all the social media?
No, I have not. I just saw it. I saw a Cranes thing.
Continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's all us. You
All
already
right,
mentioned
so-
it.
It's a beer news thing.
It's happening. There's a new brewery tap house opening up in Eastern Market.
There's one in Island View. What's that one called?
That is
Faison.
Brewery Faison.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was leaving Eastern Market yesterday because I stopped after my open house and I had to have the raspberry shock tart.
Of course.
It was good.
Love it.
Really sweet. It was crazy.
It's crazy.
You okay there?
Shall I mention this beer? All right.
This is great.
I
Now
don't
that
know
I'm
what's
throwing this
going
out
on,
here,
'cause I feel like I have a terrible taste buds.
because
It's
on
delicious.
Tuesday,
delicious.
which they
finished
call
mine. Is that
Tavor
bad?
Tuesday,
Poor taste.
did a little vote on Instagram to figure out which bottle that we were going to open this for this podcast. It was pretty much between this one and the inspired by a chocolate bar from Stillwater, and the Endless Ending, which is from Anchorage Brewing. A combination blend of their barley wine and imperial stout that is aged in Woodford reserve barrels for 18 months. Ended up winning. So that one, courtesy of Tavor, which now I get to throw out that whole promo because it is promo time. So there is a promo code out there for Tavor if you get the app. Again, it is spelled TAVOUR. There is a promo code ROBEAR, ROBEAR. That will get you a $10 credit after you spend $25 worth of cash on beer.
Just so you guys know,
And-
don't buy that beer.
Well, that beer was
You
gone.
really should. It's-
Was
I
gone
don't have
after
any
a
nose
while.
hairs any longer. It was so jet fueled.
But they
Do buy that beer. That is.
I'm taking a picture so I can
They-
purchase this later.
They have quite a few different brews that are up there right now, from anything from like Boxing Bear to Superstition Meadery, because they have meads as well. Copper Kettle, Drecker, Crane, Heathen Brewing, Great Divide, Wild Leap, Illuminated Brew Works. There's quite a few that are up there, so definitely go check them out and grab that app. Again, that code is Robert, and that'll get you a $10 credit after you spend $25.
Matt, what's that Eastern Market you opened up?
This is called.
Oh, that is the locales.
Was this for me? Is this why you gave it to me, or
Yes.
was this like to share?
Because I know you like completely like light shit.
Yellow
So-
beers, yeah.
Completely light shit.
I actually went there when I went there for the Brews Brothers episode for Eastern Market / Axel, and I had their Nitro
Ferndale Project. You wanna try this?
Ferndale Project. No, thank you. I actually had their Nitro coffee, and it was amazing. And it's keto friendly. Fun fact.
They do a lot of good shit there.
Is that the first mention? Yeah, mention of
No,
keto.
no, it
non-alcoholic.
Okay.
It was non-alcoholic. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the only way it's gonna be.
Dane actually called the person who made it to make sure, because I didn't know if they had any added sugar or anything in there. Because when you have a like a nitro tap of like a cold brew coffee, sometimes they add a lot of sugar to it, and I don't want to drink sugar. So he called, and there's no sugar in it. So I was happy. Thank
just,
you,
like-
Men in Black.
You could have just like tasted it, and it's either bitter or sugar.
I mean, I could have, but there's a lot of good nitro coffees that are sugar free that taste sweet but not sugary sweet. So I wasn't in the mood to guess. I still had plenty of beer that night, so what the fuck did it matter, anyways? Yeah, this definitely kills me. Like I'm definitely
in
not
an
a-
amazing way, right? 'Cause
No,
it's
I'm not.
amazing.
I'm not a
so
fan
sweet
of
and
it.
delicious.
It's sweet and smooth. I mean, I
Yeah.
absolutely love barley wines for one.
15%, man.
And
I was
I'm
super
getting-
nervous
I'm
'cause
getting
I'm not a
pure-
huge fan of barley wines. and
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
just getting
amazing.
pure barley
Well,
wine.
it tastes
I'm
more
not-
like a bourbon barrel aged.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like the
because there's the,
the heat
bourbon.
of the bourbon, but it's all
Yeah.
barley wine. And
There's
I don't know.
it
Definitely
kind of
that barley wine gives a little twang.
that twang, little
Yeah.
like kind of like a toffee
Yes,
twang to
yes.
it. Yeah,
You drink and you're like, "Ooh, this isn't a normal bourbon barrel.
Yeah.
It's something different."
yeah. This is amazing. It was well worth what I paid for it.
Well, I think at that point we're gonna need to
It's probably
we're
like
gonna need to crack
$17.
open a hard cider. Do you have a hard cider
I
that's
do, I
over
do.
14%?
Maybe
It's probably right around 15.
Oh yeah, it's right here. No, you know what? I almost brought in Omnipolo. They have a beer that has
French fries and hamburger buns in
We've
it.
brought that. I brought that in
Did
before.
you?
Yes,
I almost brought that, but
the
they didn't
hamburger
have,
bun.
They didn't have any cold, so I'm not gonna do that.
Hamburger bun and French fry.
French
Yeah.
fries. It's a double IPA
Yep.
with hamburger buns and French
That
fries.
just sounds not appealing.
It's
at all.
very. It's surprising because when you see that on the label about there being
15%.
brewed with French fries and hamburger buns, that you're expecting, a number one large with a Coke, but I mean it's not. It's
Hey,
not really there.
Remember how the sound was on the last time
Yeah,
you
I
used your phone?
Didn't change. Just so little. Just very,
Damn it.
very little.
Bill O'Reilly, we're doing this shit live. What's wrong with you?
I feel like I've never podcasted before, and I know not to pull my phone out and play stuff off the
Man,
screen.
I'm the one who showed up late.
Because I
know
got a
it's-
damn Samsung.
Yeah, it just auto. Like,
It's always
all
auto
volume
on
is on.
now.
Just on Instagram. Are you on Instagram?
No, it's on damn Facebook.
Facebook.
I'm
Yeah,
checking
get you.
because I get a fucking 100 million notifications. Better on Draft is live, live.
I don't get any notifications.
I literally my phone is blowing up with Better on Draft.
Well, whose fault is that?
Yeah, you change this shit.
Change the notifications.
Right. Speaking actually, and before we get to another thing, I need to give a quick shout out to Drafting Table and their Oktoberfest that they had going on last week. As far as like, obviously, I didn't get a chance to really partake in the festivities, but just going there and picking up the beer, it was one of those rare moments where you just got to get your beer and get in and get the fuck out. Like there's like some of those beer events where you just sit there in line and just wait and wait and wait, and it was quick, it was easy. So just like shout out to like the whole group, Mark, Joel, Aaron, all the y'all guys out there, Kristen, great job and awesome ass beer. I just had the Vessel in Distress last night, and that shit was amazing. I've now found a huge love for wee heavies.
Yeah, he rocked a kilt at Oktoberfest, didn't he?
He did, and the funny is, like, if you look at the can, he's on the can. It was like just rocking that same kilt. It was perfect.
Do you guys plan on doing any sort of events downtown? Like, what's the grand design?
Yeah, so I actually talked to the mayor when he came in during Rockin' the Shores, and they're starting,
The mayor, not you.
right. No, I appreciate that.
Wow.
But they're starting a DDA, which is a downtown development, and I'm going to try my best to get on it because, you had talked about closing down that intersection or that stretch.
It's 2 block. It's a block. Yeah.
And realistically, Monday through Friday doesn't make sense, but I do agree on the weekends it could definitely be done. But at the end of the day, all I want to do is bring more things downtown. There's no reason, that there should not be a farmer's market down there or something going on.
Even
Well, the
something
farmers
silly
market's
like
on
Dodge
Jefferson.
Park does the art fairs or something like that.
Yeah, art fair. At least in the summer, spring, fall, there should be.
It doesn't have to be
once a
drinking
month. There should be
oriented.
like a festival of some sort, whether it's
Family-oriented
music,
event
art,
down
whatever
there.
it is.
Even if they just my thought is like, if they put picnic tables there in the middle of the street and you could go to a pizza place or a restaurant and get
Right.
food and just
Right.
like congregate. Like if you ever go like downtown, like in front of like Quicken, like right at in front of Hart Plaza, there food trucks
Right,
show
yeah.
up
Yeah.
and you grab a seat and you
Well,
pick
there's
a
like-
truck.
Well, and you look at the event that we just had with the Rock and the Shores. Why does the liquor permit that's gotten for
don't.
that?
Well,
Why
that's a
does it?
state thing. Don't.
No, but why does it end right at the sidewalk?
Well,
Why
there's
can't it end
there's
at the
legalities.
Yeah,
to
why
that.
can't it expand past
Because
to the other side of the
and
building?
I get it, right? Like Farbella or Cedar Gardens, they don't have a liquor license, so you're not physically allowed to walk in there with liquor. And I understand
At the
that.
same rate, who's gonna enforce that?
Yeah,
This
no, the city,
SCSPD. So,
the city has to, right?
well,
And,
it has to.
well,
Like,
no, but I'm saying like, yeah,
it's
the
not like
state's
the
not
state
going down
Yeah,
there.
the
to
state
enforce-
PD isn't gonna roll up and like write
No.
the city.
So at the end of the day, we all want that space to be communal, like a walkable area, and bring people down there. The businesses want it, the people want it, so we
imagine
just have to do it.
Imagine how expensive those houses would become if you could, like you live there.
Oh, I like to imagine.
I mean, if you can walk 3 blocks and be in the middle of downtown, Royal Oak, these condos are $800,000
Exactly.
because they're right there.
Yeah. No, and I think eventually we'll get to some space where at least it's there's something going on there at least once a month. That's all I ask for. Once a month.
Bush for Mayor 2020.
Once a month for something to happen down there, and I think we'll get there. I mean, they just dubbed it the downtown St. Clair Shores, right? Like, it hasn't been called that officially for the last however many years, and now it is. So that's
well, when they built, this is more of an off air because we're talking about super local municipalities.
Hey,
on
I'm
a beer
it's,
podcast.
It's us. So.
But the thing is, like, they built so. If you're ever in St. Clair Shores, they built a drive around the downtown Main Street in the 70s
for a reason
to build a downtown, and they just kept sitting on their asses, never doing anything.
Well, I think what'll really push it over the edge is when something happens to Harper Sports. That's a huge area. Something's got to.
I've been trying to get a brewery in there.
Well, I don't want a brewery in there, but no,
I would great if they could go back and forth.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind something in there.
Something rhymes with laughing.
but it's a huge space. It's 50,000 square feet.
32,000 square feet.
Oh, is it? Yeah. That's the upstairs and down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Upper and down, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the upstairs needs to become lofts or condos or something, and you just do like business on the bottom. And you do
Party
that,
on top, business on the bottom?
Well, yeah, and you do that, and you become more of like a Royal Oak, right? Where you have living down in that downtown area. I mean, you could do it.
There already is a ton of living in the downtown area. Like I said, it's 3 minutes for me to walk from
Yeah,
my house to
Doremus.
the
I mean, that street's Colony and all that shit, right?
Yeah, it's all right there. So
no, I think it's going to happen. I mean,
and I feel like the community really wants it to happen. I haven't all the times that we've been there.
You know what? No, it's the young community that does. The old people that don't want it, and those are the people that vote in our city, unfortunately.
Well, that's not entirely true.
We need to find a different conversation.
Yeah, no. All right, Matt's blowing up political here. We got to move on.
Let's go. Moving on.
Got to move on. Matt, tell us how you feel about St. Clair Shores.
So this cider, by the way.
Yes,
Anybody want to walk us through the
Good Lord.
tasting notes?
Maybe Sean can walk us through it in the chat room since Sean's the head cider maker.
He's sleeping.
Well,
so this is a blueberry apple cider.
Yes.
It is a blueberry apple cider. That's 15%. And
The first time you
fermented
sip
in his
it,
basement.
it will kick you exactly in the tonsils, but it gets easier because I think your body adjusts to it.
I don't even
This
get it.
thing's smooth
like-
as hell.
You know what
Yeah,
the problem
it's
is?
super
We just
smooth.
got done drinking that other
and
one.
it's-
He gave it up, so we already had that 15%.
I told y'all off air. I mean, I don't live my life above under 12%. So I mean, with this being 15, I'm like, all right.
So
pretty
unfortunately,
good,
Robert,
though. Yeah.
this will not be available in the brewery because we're not going to do something.
I think you
this
guys
high.
should. I think you should 750 this.
Yeah, no, and that's closer to where it'll be. It'll be a lower ABV because we don't want people drinking one. And,
But our ciders aren't going to
driving
hang
home.
out much below 6.
No, I would say you should make
They're
this.
all going to be above. They're
Put,
going to be good.
like we talked off air about you guys crowding to go.
Yeah.
You should bottle this to go and say, hey, here's a 15% cider. You can have it, but GTFO, don't drink it here.
Right.
Go home and
At your own
share
risk.
this.
So the cool thing is
There's the name of the cider right there. Go home and share this cider.
go home and share
GTFO cider.
GTFO cider. No,
if you say it together, go home and share this cider.
yeah, Go
Like
home
as
and
a
share
full
this.
name of the cider.
Yeah, just one word.
I mean, I don't know about one word.
Yeah, we can split it up. We don't need to have
No,
it.
but I think
It could be a series.
The cider is just going to be another dynamic of originally the reason we wanted to do cider was my sister-in-law has celiacs, and we went to a couple breweries that didn't serve anything but beer, and we had to leave, and we had a party like 10, and it's like that's a lot of business you just lost because you didn't have a gluten-free option.
It's $60 a round.
Yeah. So, it was one of those things where it was like, and then Sean, our partner, when we brought him on, when that happened,
Sean doesn't exist.
Sean doesn't exist. So
He's just a
That's a
name
cider?
in a chat room.
Yeah.
Chat room.
No,
That's
that's
all
all
it
it
is.
is.
Still in
That's
the
actually-
chat room?
Ask him about the Turkish jail from Wayne State.
the Turkish jail.
That's what he's saying in the chat room. If
Oh
you
my
follow
God.
us,
He's been
facebook.com
drinking. He's been
/better
drinking.
on draft.
Turkish jail.
He was
I can't
talking
believe
about
he's still
the hell
awake.
is
We've
going
never
on?
had a phone call conversation with the past 8 o'clock.
he was
'cause
talking
he's
about
usually
getting
in bed.
thrown into
Well,
a Turkish
One
jail.
of his kids is sleeping on him, so
Oh,
he can
okay.
text.
Got it.
It's easy to text while you do that. We love you, Sean. We love your face.
And actually, with that whole name and the get the fuck out, it's like you could call it get fucked. It's just like GTFOC, get the fuck out cider. But if you drink the whole thing on your own, then you will get fucked.
I like it. Good play on words there.
No,
I'm
but
for it. Yeah, I'll give you that name.
Matt
Go ahead.
already wants to name all our beers.
I get
he
oh,
was in.
he
He was
always.
in.
Matt
He was
wants
like,
to
I
name
got so
everyone's
many good
beers.
names for this, and I
I
was like,
do
you
know.
don't even know.
Well, he never had any of our beer
Well,
until
no,
today.
and rocking the shores.
No.
I mean,
Nope.
No, I've never had any of your beers.
Never had
smelt
any
it.
of our
He just
beers.
smelled
No, he's like
I
he's
smelt I smelt the malt bill.
Yeah,
coming
and
in.
he was
Yeah,
like, I know
told
this
him
one.
the malt bill, and he's like, I can picture how that flavor would taste.
he's like Boondock Saints. He has a degree in
Oh, nice.
nameology.
I
There
like
it
this
is.
guy. Rule of thumb. Oh, that's not gonna do much, is it? Should have been a rule of wrist. Robert, hit it, bro.
What's the symbology of this beer? The symbology
Of this cider?
this beer. Cider, yeah. Symbology of the cider. How is the cider made?
Sean made it in his basement.
Sean made it in the
in
basement.
his bathtub or
No.
No,
really,
I mean, he takes pride in it.
He
He has
does.
a stainless steel fermenter, carbs it in the corny kegs, flavors it in the corny kegs. We're gonna transfer that to a bigger fermenter.
Yeah, maybe.
Not sure how, because he's the guy that does all the ciders.
I feel
I've
like
never made a cider
you're,
in
you're
my life.
ready since he's a cider maker.
Is he still active in there?
He's still active in there. He feels like we have questioned his like we called him
Je
a
ne sais
liar
quoi?
about the Turkish jail. So he
I
needs
don't
to make
know what the
a
Turkish jail
Turkish jail coffee. So a Turkish coffee cider.
that sounds like a Camel cigarette.
So true, and I didn't even know that until you said
I'm
that.
okay with it.
So are you guys okay? Are you guys gonna make a seltzer?
No.
Why not?
Appreciate that.
New England IPA?
Yes.
Gluten-free beer?
Cider.
Yeah,
That's called
It's
cider.
called cider. We call it cider.
Well, not all cider is
Maize, you can
gluten-free.
call it corn.
Our cider's gluten free.
Bourbon barrel aged.
So for your sister, was it?
at some
That's
point, yes.
celiac.
Celiacs, yeah.
So it's gluten removed, not gluten free, but gluten removed. Brewery Becker, all of their beers are gluten removed.
So the funny thing is, I was talking to Steven from Batch, and most beer is below the tolerance that it can be called gluten free or gluten reduced or whatever it is, to fall underneath that category. But yeah, the gluten removed beer. I mean, I don't, because we offer cider, we probably will not offer gluten removed beer. So
Well, I'm just trying to get your sister to go have fun and have a drink somewhere.
she's gonna
so
drink
gotta
the
go
cider.
there.
She loves cider. So
Yeah, and if we sell the 15% in cans and she goes has a car bar party out in the parking lot, I mean,
car bar.
she'll have plenty of fun.
No, and you know, at the end of the day, that's the reason we wanted cider that was one of the reasons. But also, there's times where, you know, women don't drink beer, and a guy wants to go out and he wants to bring his.
There's
wife
also
or
times
girl
that
or
a guy
whatever.
doesn't drink beer and wants to go
I
out.
was saying, 'cause I know
I was
quite a
gonna
few
say,
women who drink beer.
I don't necessarily want to drink beer. but-
Yeah, no,
Most women do. But
Yeah.
there's some that don't. They're just
Yeah.
like totally like, I'm not gonna drink beer. You know, so it's
How many
like
taps are you guys gonna have?
14.
14.
But we are planning on opening with around 10.
Okay.
10 beers, 2 ciders.
10 beers, so 12.
All be sold out in a week. So get in there right away. No, I'm just joking. That's
Small 5-ounce pours.
Yeah,
5-ounce
5
pours.
ounce pours.
Food program?
We bring your own food type deal. We'll do stuff with food trucks, obviously, and then we'll also.
Who's some of the closest food purveyors near your?
There's
brewery?
a Passport Pizza right next to us. There's Cedar Gardens, which is an
Yeah.
excellent Lebanese restaurant.
Shawarma for
literally
sure.
3 doors down. Shores Inn is across the
Kalaba
street.
chicken.
Firehouse Grill has offered to help us out as well with food service. So because we're in a downtown area with a lot of good restaurants, I mean Travis, which is one of world
Can order a
renowned.
sack of 6.
It's funny because they have on their building they have that they're the 26th top 26. Like typically
Yeah.
you just say what you are, right? You say we're the 26th, but they have like top 26. Like that's a thing. You know?
But it's just usually like
top
diners
20
in America.
Right. But it's usually like top 25. Like we're in the top. No, they did top 26. So you know they're number 26 at that point, right? Like that's just like top 33. Like no, you're 33rd at that
Top
point.
42 and a half
Right.
by our uncle's cousin.
It's funny how they did it, but no, for
great.
for sliders, especially if you've been drinking all night,
it's a good place to go.
Even when you're not drinking.
Yeah, no.
No, it's a great place to just go across the street and get a coney dog or an omelet like at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
for sure.
the Travis omelet is amazing.
I don't know. That was a hamburger one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
No, you really got to do it. It's
I tell you what, you hold on real
Oh,
quick.
there's St Clair Shores.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
there's a tire.
Bomberitos is down the road.
That's a
If you
walk,
want to take up
though.
surfing,
I love
there's a surf shop.
Bomberitos though.
we
We
mentioned
just advertise everything.
we mention all the time about these restaurants, but we never really promote them as restaurants we go during the day. I always refer to them as like gut bomb restaurants you go at 2-3 in the morning, soak up the booze, help yourself out, like your Tellway or Taco Bell for
Arby's.
easy. Arby's is
Taco
not
Bell,
open too late.
has a great breakfast.
I like Taco Bell's breakfast
Yeah,
when I
it's
used
amazing. So
to
let's not
drive
talk
around
about
and eat
gut
Taco
fest.
Bells. Get the the steak and hash brown and egg wrap. Oh, so good.
Goodness.
Yeah.
But what is your, so I know we do a lot with Metro Detroit. Like, what's your secret like alcohol induced food place to go to?
I got this.
Matt has ringed in
I
first.
feel like we have the best Taco Bell in the country, right at 9 and Harper.
Stevens and Little Mac?
No, 9 and Harper. Have you been to that Taco Bell?
It's like right at Little Mac and Harper.
It's got an outdoor seating area with a fire pit.
It is
At a
so
Taco Bell.
amazing.
It's crazy.
I feel like if you haven't been there, you're
I
That's the only one I
usually
go to.
Okay.
That's the only one
I was
amazing.
I was gonna say
If you've been to
depending on
any other
the
Taco Bell, they're awful compared to that one.
the time and day. Usually, I only go to either the 9 mile between John R and DeQuinder or the 8 mile or Vernier and 94.
Yeah, that one's closed. They kept fucking up orders, and they're redoing the parking lot and inside.
Okay,
around
yeah,
it.
that parking lot's pretty shitty, especially if you parked and there's a long line. You are stuck.
The
It's
amount of
crazy.
times I've fought with those people is I had too much to drink once, and I demanded to go back.
Just only once,
Well, there was this one
That
incident.
one time.
And the girl I was dating was like, "How about I just drive you there?"
That's the only Taco Bell I think in the world that's on a one-way street. Like that thing is like you can only get in one way to that.
All
It's
roads lead to the Taco Bell. So Sean actually put probably what my favorite is, which is Lafayette, Coney Island.
It's the same as America.
No, it is
downtown
not.
for that.
You know what? Hold on.
Would this happen to be Mr.
don't even get-
Anderson?
Did you just pause the audio? on
No,
this?
I
he got
muted Matt.
He got muted.
Rob,
You got
Rob,
muted?
no,
Is this
Matt,
like,
you're muted.
Pardon the interruption right now.
Matt,
got
yeah,
muted?
he got muted, and there's no timer. I decide when it comes
Yeah.
back on. Rob, what about you?
For me, because Sean is always about Lafayette, so you can kind of kiss my ass on that one.
You're muted too, Jeremy. What about you?
Mine's the Taco Bell.
The Taco Bell, that's fine.
It's the best one in the country, probably.
Best
It's
Taco Bell
amazing.
in the country. Ryan,
Listen, I don't.
It has an outdoor fire pit.
I don't. I'm past that the days of getting that drunk that I needed. But back in the day, it was Coney, just National
such a
Coney
liar.
Island.
National Coney's fine. Like
That
the
was
Gratiot
well,
National, the
because- no,
24-hour
it was
National.
we would go to Dooley's
You're
and
not
get
fooling
blitzed,
anybody.
and then we'd go to the National across the street. So, but now it would be probably just Taco Bell for ease, right? Like the last time I got smashed was St. Patty's Day this last year. And we went through Taco Bell, and I don't even remember, but I guess I ate like half the menu.
Nice.
And my sister-in-law
So,
told me about the whole incident.
Sean says it is far different than American. American is trash. I will fight you.
Is he bigger than me?
No.
Okay, I got him.
But he's got
but-
special skills.
but-
He knows
but-
jujitsu.
All right,
He's
a black belt.
He's a scrappy motherfucker.
let's
I'm
go
gonna tell you
through
that
Matt, where do you want to go?
Time not being an option, there is a Peruvian restaurant in Grosse Pointe Woods called Garridos. They have this thing called
Been there.
And
Are they
arepas?
the ones with the giant desserts
yeah.
that are like put together with a blowtorch?
Yes, but they also have these things called arepas, which are basically South American Egg McMuffins. And they have like a hamburger.
I mean, I'm interested.
They have like
What is this called? Because I've been there.
It's
and didn't see
Garridos
this
Bistro.
I've
You
been
get
there.
one
I've
of
been
the,
there.
you get
It's
the
delicious.
arepas.
Arepas.
It's Venezuelan, so it's a bun with basically everything you could ever imagine stuffed into a breakfast dish right there. And you will eat it and you will fall asleep for 3 hours immediately thereafter. But it's the greatest thing. The El Royale, it has a chicken patty. The chicken, it has a chicken
Wait, no, it's
patty,
authentic.
a tofu patty, a hamburger patty, like eggs.
Is it 007?
It's literally like you can't finish
Do I
it.
just go in and order the El Royale?
Yeah.
Rob,
just
what
say
about
that
you,
right
real
at the
quick?
host station?
Oh, I'm pretty much just going to like either Sidetrack or Mercury Bar.
Side is that the bar
You
we
must
went
live
to where
downtown,
me, you,
huh?
and Dan went
Yeah.
after the summer beer fest?
Yep.
The waiter comes up to us. Me, Dan, and Rob leave the summer beer fest. We go to Sidetracks, and he goes, "What do you guys want to drink?" And all three in unison, water. All right. So for tonight's final shot, we got Tahoe Blue Vodka, made with Tahoe water. It says.
Seriously?
It is an extraordinary 3 vodka blend distilled from 50% sugarcane, 25% grape, 25% corn. I'm pretty sure this is from California. I'm looking for the city, but
Nevada,
it might not
probably.
tell me.
Tahoe's in Nevada.
New York City.
I mean, it says the water's from Lake Tahoe. It doesn't say that it was
that's
distilled in Lake Tahoe. It doesn't necessarily name the city. Obviously, I went to a Bevmo. And I said, I want a California liquor, and the dude took like 20 minutes to figure it out and pick this.
Do I cut myself and like apply this to a gauze?
Drink it.
So for the final shot, guys, Copper Hop, where are you guys located online? In when are you guys opening? Where? All that stuff. This is where you sell
We
it.
got a Kickstarter.
www.thecopperhop.com is our website. Copper Hop Brewing Company on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our Kickstarter right now is Copper Hop Brewing. If you want to be a Mug Club member, it's the only time we'll offer a lifetime membership to people is during the Kickstarter. So, and we are located at 9 and Mac, 23401 Greater Mac Avenue.
Just south of 9 Mile.
Just south of 9 Mile, right across from Places, the Shores Inn.
All right, Copper Hop. Thank you so
Cheers.
much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hope you guys enjoy this. I know Matt won't, but I don't care. I should like get like a zoom in every single time, but I want to see Matt's reaction.
It's rubbing alcohol. I just drank rubbing alcohol.
Dude, it was just like
just
fucking
drank
water. What
15%,
the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's pretty well distilled. That's pretty good.
I mean,
that's definitely like give me like a little ice cube, like a little chill, and I could probably drink that straight for a long
that's the
time.
thing. When you grow up with regular strength Listerine, this ain't shit.
I'll drink Listerine over that.
I've seen that episode of Intervention.
Let's see here. Next,
The one guy from Columbus.
You know, the lady was drinking brown Listerine because that's the only alcohol they would
next
buy.
week I'm gonna be in Denver and Tacoma. Maybe I'll bring something special for Matt. From there, that's going to do it for us. Better on
Philadelphia,
Draft
Pennsylvania,
196. Copper Hop Brewing, thank you so much for joining us. We
thank you
appreciate
guys.
it.
Thank you very much.
And no matter, you know what? We're going to be at Jimmy John's tomorrow. You guys probably will have listened
off
to this
next week?
after.
No,
We are
we're
not off next week.
I'm off
We
next
have, let's see here. We actually have a decent little schedule
Not
coming
all
up
about
right now.
Yeah.
Episode 197 next week, 1018, Urban Embodiment. So that's going to be me and Rob interviewing. They're doing a mobile bartending competition. I don't know what that means, but we'll figure it out.
Nick Britsky's gonna be in there.
yeah, that's how we
Cocktails?
figured out
Tom
about
Cruise
that.
going to be there?
Yeah.
The week after that,
That's what I
we have
heard.
Detroit
The
Beer
week
Fest,
after
right?
that,
Tom
so
Cruise is gonna be
10:25, we're going to be off, but we're going to have shows because we're going to be recording live at Eastern Market Brewing Company. So we're going to have a bunch of shows Thursday and Friday to show off for that.
Cheers,
and
Neil.
then episode 199 on November 1st, we're going to be live at Griffin Claw the day before Flying Buffalo gets released.
Front butt.
We're going to be there. We're going to be drinking. We're going to be having fun. And
I
then
will not be alive.
yeah, because it gets released on November 2nd. And then, of course, episode 200, our 200th episode, guys.
Can we all wear tuxedos?
We missed out on that, didn't we?
We're going to be live. So episode 100, if you guys remember, we had John Piepenbrock on.
Yep.
We had Aaron Langtot on. And we had Eric Brigham on. So for episode 200, we're going to have John Piepenbrock, Aaron
he still
Langtot,
alive?
and Eric Brigham. So yes,
I don't
he is
know
still
if John
alive.
Piepenbrock is still alive.
He is still alive. I have confirmed his liveness. That's going to do it for us. Better on Draft. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's
Really bad vodka.
Better on draft.
better on Draft. Have a good night. Peace.
Thank you.